Hello everybody and welcome to my 8th video in my Java tutorial series, and in this episode we are going to be going over input from the keyboard, which should be very fun. I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for this very patiently. I'm happy to finally get around to it though. So with that we can begin, and the first thing I want to talk about is classes and some other outside classes, and in some instances you may need to import classes into your class, into your project or file, and not actually into the class, because as you can see right now I am above the class, but I'll get into more of the stuff later. But for now, there are two classes that we're going to need to import in order to use import from the keyboard, and they're pretty easy to remember. You need to type import and then type in the directory of the class, and I'll talk more about that after this. Try to get this, and okay, so what we're doing here, we're just importing, and then this is a class, and what dots do up here in Java, if you're importing like a package or a well, it normally is a package, but it's just a class, and dots kind of take the place of like slash marks. So, you know, like if you were to open up like a file place, you know, you can see, oh my god, okay. If I were to go like, if I were to go like this, you can see now I have backslash, they're actually backslashes, but you can see I have backslashes right here, and that shows me my file location, and dots kind of just replace that, but that's not too important. So the first one that we need to import is java.io, and be sure to type in .asterisk afterward, and also java.util.asterisk. And what the asterisk is doing is it's telling it to sort of include like all the subclasses in this directory. So in some cases you still need to do, like if I were to do import, I don't actually have one off like as an example, but say there was java.dog, say if there was a dog file that you needed imported, in some cases you might actually need to type out .dog, or you know, I don't believe there's actually a class called dog, but whatever. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say, but I'll get into more of that later, because that's not actually very important in this lesson, but these two classes are. Make sure that you have these. And a quick note, Java requires at least you need to have at least Java 1.5 or above, and this is, I believe, the JRE or the JDK. One of these, yeah, you should have it if you downloaded what I downloaded, but if not, just look into updating all your Java software, and it should work fine. That's pretty old right now, so I'm not even, like, you might be able to find it, but you know, they don't offer it. That's assuming you never update your stuff on your computer. But with all that aside, let's finally get to what we need to do. So the first thing that we need to do is create a scanner object, and in order to do that, I'm going to introduce you into how to kind of create a new object, and I'm not actually gonna, like, this is how you do it not conventionally, but the majority of the time. However, it could change, but I'll get into this later, so don't worry too much about what this is that I'm typing here, but you do need it for a scanner. So don't worry about what it's doing, just be sure that you have this. So it's going to be scanner and then input, and this right here is something that you can change. You know, its name, it's like declaring a new variable. It's declaring a scanner object, and you can change it to whatever, but I like to use input if I'm not using a ton of other scanners or whatever. But then you can do equals new scanner system.in and end that line. And well, yeah, I'll keep going on. There is there is a sort of like an error that I'll get into, or not an error, but it's something you might notice, especially if you're using BlueJ. But I'll get into that after I tell you more about this, more about how to use scanner. So with the scanner class, you can take integers and doubles and strings and all those good variables and everything, and you can, if you couldn't understand what input means, like this would be you typing into the keyboard, and you can display it out afterward, or you can use it to multiply it by something or whatever. But I'll show you how to do that now. So say I want to take an integer, and what I'm going to do is just like a normal integer, do int I and then equals, and I'm going to put input, which is the name of my scanner. If I were to change this also has to match it, assuming that I'm trying to use this scanner. So it has to be input dot next int, and that is going to make sure that I use the next integer value that is inputted into my keyboard. So next one that I'm going to go over is double. It's going to be double D, and it's going to be the same type of setup, except it's going to be double. Sorry, it's going to be next double. And inside your parameters again, there is nothing. They are simply empty. And lastly, string s input dot next. I'm going to start out with next first. I'll print both these out, but there's next and there's next line, and I'll tell you the difference once I get down there. So don't worry about those for the moment. But for int I, it's going to take the next integer value that is inputted to the keyboard. And as you can see right here, I have like multiple values used for one scanner. But what you need to do in order to do this, it's gonna like take a space. It's hard to explain. But if I take like int and then say I were to enter 7, then I need to hit like space after that to end that, and that's gonna equal my integer. And then I'd have to put like 6.7, and that's gonna equal my double. And so just be wary, otherwise you're gonna need to make a new scanner object with a new name, which isn't too hard. Hopefully I'll show you even more after I print it out what I'm trying to tell you guys. But so down to string, entering strings. Strings can be entered in two different ways, but I'll show you here. Right here we have input.next, and what next is going to do is it's not going, if you were to have type in a whole phrase into your keyboard, input.next is only going to take the first set of characters after or before the space. So you can't actually enter in a whole phrase, you can only type in a word using next. So if you only want them to type in a word, like say you had a yes or no question, that would work just fine. However, if you wanted them to you want to ask them what their full name was and they needed spaces in between, you would need to use next.line or next line. And what that's going to do is it's going to take the whole line that you enter, so it's going to take all the spaces until you hit enter. So let's see, I'll add all these together. Well, I'll add these two number values together, and I'll show you what these do. So what I'm going to show you right now is the error that you'll run into, or at least using BlueJ, this is very noticeable. If I compile this right now, and then I try to open it, now you're going to notice immediately nothing opens. And this down here, this bar right here is going to be moving, and I want to talk about this. Yes, it's called the work indicator, and like it says, it turns red and moves like this every time you have like a project open and running. And the way to, if you need to ever stop one, if you ever create an endless loop or anything like that, or we'll get into that later, and get into loops later, all you need to do is right click that and hit reset, and that is a nice feature that Java offers. But the reason why we're getting this error is because if you come down, if you look at the code, you realize you're asking for an input before you're printing anything out. So if you ever put anything into BlueJ and you don't ask, or it doesn't print anything out, it's not actually going to open up the terminal and show you what it says, because you're not actually showing anything, you're just doing like internal data. So if you want to put system.out.println, and at first you could say, let's see, we'll do enter an integer, then a double, then a word, and a phrase. So let's see, now if we compile it and we run it, you'll see this will pop open first. So what we're going to do, we're going to type in an integer, then a space, and then we're going to type in a double, and then we're going to type in a word, Owen, then we're going to type in, oh, sorry, no comma, and then we're going to type in another space and type the phrase that we're going to use, which I'll just use my name is Owen. So this right here is the next.line. This is just next, or next line, sorry, not dot. This is next, this is next double, and this is next int. And if I come down here and hit enter, because I have down here, I'm adding I and D, so it's going to print out the value of 7 plus 6.7, which was my integer and my double. And because I can't add strings, I'll just delete these and I'll print S plus E. Should compile. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I'll compile that. Then I'll come down here and, oh man. Okay, 6.7, Owen. My name is Owen. So now you can see it prints Owen, which was the next, and it's going to also print my name is Owen, which was the next line. And the reason, you can notice here, you might have noticed here, there's a space here, and the reason that is because this one's going to take, this one stops as soon as you hit space. So this is just the phrase that you're going to get until you hit the space bar. The phrase afterward will accept spaces, so once you hit this space, or hit this space, it's going to end this one and begin this one immediately, and including that space. So it's going to print out, like this is technically the phrase that you entered, including this space. So it's going to print that out. So so that is what I wanted to, the main stuff that I want to talk about for Scanner, and very useful. Now you can ask questions and make simple programs, you know, for whatever purposes you want to do. But that is all I want to talk about for this video. So have some fun with this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.